What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
What is going on, OTB Nation? Welcome into episode number 374 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked, number 11 Philadelphia ranked, a Tom Borelli award-nominated included lacrosse podcast known as the Outside the Box Podcast, the official lacrosse pod on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. It's KB coming at you from a hotel here in Montco, the home of Mikey Sowers. How you doing? And joining me, as he always does, it's Coach Deej. Deej, how we living?
Well, as all of you will be hearing this, I will probably be coaching because I'm coaching both Friday and Saturday this week. Friday is senior night, so I will be bawling my eyes out as my first class of freshmen will be graduating this year. And so I'm just excited. We got our playoff matchup. I had a total overreaction. I thought we were ranked a little lower than I thought we should have been, which still stands true. I think we should be one spot higher than we were in our region. And then I thought we totally got screwed by playing a way better team. And then I looked at their film today and I was like, they're not all that great. So we do still have a chance to win our regional game. So that's kind of where our focus is ending the regular season on a high note and stretching into postseason. But I have started to shift my role. I have had some banter in the past 3.5 years with referees about how they treat my team and fairness and things of that such. So I have now devoted those conversations to my assistant coach. He now will handle all referee conversations, and I am head coach of Vibes and Smiles. So our team is looking to just have positive attitudes and smile while we have fun.
We got to make shirts that just say hashtag Team Vibes and Smiles.
Yes, we are hashtag Teams Vibes and Smiles for the rest of life.
That's so funny. We got a fun show. We're going to recap the Bandits and Warriors semifinal series as the Bandits are moving on to yet another NLL Finals. We will preview Saskatchewan and Halifax Part 2 as they play potentially 2 games this weekend. We will also dive into the PLL Draft because if you missed it, your boy was at ESPN HQ taking in all the sights and sounds from the 2025 PLL Draft. An exciting time. Got a lot of insight. We'll talk about a lot of the picks, where things kind of fell on the draft board, some surprises. And as we're recording this on Thursday, the PLL supplemental draft has happened. We won't know for a couple of days until the picks start rolling out where teams selected guys for that to kind of fill out rosters for training camp, but that also has occurred. And then, Deej, it's crazy as we sit here. It's May 8th, 2.5 weeks, Albany.
Yep.
2.5 weeks. We're back in the swing
horizon.
of things. On the road again.
I'm excited. The road season is my favorite season.
Crazy. And then you're going to take us through the college game like you always do. But before we get into everything, make sure you guys are following us on the socials at OTB LaxPod across the board. Follow Deej on Twitter at SCS_NextGreat. Follow me, KBIZZL311. Follow Hoots at Hoots Sports Media. Subscribe to the pod. I'll say it one more time for good measure. Subscribe to the pod, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Leave us a 5-star review. It goes a long way for helping this show continue to grow, and it allows all of the shows on our network to continue to grow because it gets more eyes and ears on our entire network. And subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia. That is where you get full video episodes of this show every single week, full video episodes of every show on our network, clips, shorts, live streams, just like our OTB college draft extravaganza, which we will definitely have a lot of love to spread for that because the homies came through, and I'm officially dubbing the 2025 stream, Deej, OTB and Friends.
Yeah, Friends and OTB, actually, because we wasn't really there.
OTB and Friends sounds like something that needs to happen at least like twice a year.
Yeah, easily. Like I feel like people thoroughly enjoy OTB and Friends.
It was so good. But subscribe to the YouTube, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia, and subscribe to the OTB YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/@OTB Laxpod. If you want that college shows, we're in the month of May. We need 47 more subscribers, and then Deej and Hoots will be dialed in with some college episodes as well. And as you guys know, the show is proudly presented by Shootout For Soldiers. Guys, the month of May is here. We are 9 days away as we record this from Shootout For Soldiers' first event of the calendar year. It is truly the coolest experience to be a part of if you attend a Shootout For Soldiers event. It's bridging community with the sport of lacrosse to help serve our nation's veterans in a very cool and like communal way to, they're bringing lacrosse to hotbeds. They're bringing lacrosse to non-traditional markets. It's such a cool event if you have the opportunity to take advantage of attending a Shootout For Soldiers event, learning how to volunteer, donate, getting involved. If an event is coming to your hometown or near your hometown, highly encourage you getting involved. Use the link in the description or go to shootoutforsoldiers.com/events and learn how to get involved, donate, volunteer, or maybe figure out how to bring Shootout For Soldiers to your hometown in the future. But again, visit shootoutforsoldiers.com/events for more detail. And we thank Shootout For Soldiers for being a proud partner and presenting partner of the Outside the Box podcast. Deej, the NLL is where we will start because the Buffalo Bandits are headed to yet another NLL Finals. We have the other side of the bracket on deck this weekend with Saskatchewan and Halifax. But we will recap everything that happened with Buffalo and Vancouver. And as you guys know, our wrap-ups are brought to you by our friends over at Buff. Guys, Survivor buffs are available. The warm weather, I'm out here at the Truist Championship here in Philadelphia. And it was a little toasty today, Deej, but it was a good toasty. It wasn't humid, but weather's getting hot. You got to protect yourself even in the heat. And we've talked about those UV protection buffs that Deej and I are going to get our hands on this summer, faux show. Because when them hot boy walks get going, I'm going to have to stay protected. Deej is coaching out in the sun. He's got to stay protected. We're going to be rocking Buff. Buff is truly the best. I've known about this company since the year 2000 because of Survivor, and their product is second to none. It helps protect you from not only the heat, but also the cold weather during the winter time. And they have designs and strength of protection for all of your needs. Use the link in the description. Shop everything with Buff, including the Survivor Season 48 collection, including the Merge Buff. And shout out to Buff for being a proud partner of the podcast. Deej, they are like Thanos, those Buffalo Bandits. The Buffalo Bandits are going to a 5th straight NLL Finals. And I just genuinely don't know if another team will ever be able to get by the Bandits in the postseason. They are inevitable. They are Thanos with all the Infinity Stones. They just know how to win in the playoffs. They have the right formula, the right chemistry, the right guys in that locker room. And on top of that, when you go full ADAP, shout out to Diggs, like our boy Chase Frazier did. Number one play on SportsCenter. One of the filthiest, we talk from time to time about some of the filthiest goals and greatest goals we've seen in our lifetime. Chase, I think, made a case for him being in the top 10, if not a little higher with that goal, because I was like flabbergasted that, one, he had the timing to get it off, and two, that he did that on Christian Del Bianco.
It's neither of those things for me. It's the timing of when he chose to do it. Like, you're in the NLL semis in a 1 goal or a tie goal or a tied game, and you do that. Sir, absurd. I feel like he didn't need to do all that. I feel like he just chose to. He literally just chose violence. And that's what lacrosse is all about. choosing violence every single time. Don't quote me on that. Actually, yes, quote me on that. Put that out. DJ from OTB says lacrosse is all about choosing violence when you get the chance. Every single time. And that's what Chase Frazier did, and that's what he does often. So it wasn't surprising to see him do it. It was more of just the timing, like, homie, if you would have missed, then what? Not like anything would have been said. His coach wouldn't have said a word to him. They would have just moved on. It wouldn't have mattered. But it just was the audacity of that moment to pull that off. And then it actually go in. That makes it, I got to say, top 5. At this moment, I think it's top 5 goals I've ever seen.
Like, and that goal right there is just the Buffalo Bandits in the playoffs personified. Like, they genuinely don't care who they're playing, who's in goal, what the score is, what the situation is. They're going to embarrass you one way or another. And it's going to go nuclear on the internet because of it and because of what team it is. And genuinely, I feel like the NLL at this point, we talked about it last week, how, dynasties can kind of get stale and old and kind of turn away fans and everything. I genuinely am just like, all right, why don't the rest of the league just compete during the regular season for the right to play against the Bandits in the NLL Finals? Because that's what it has been for half a decade now. For the entirety of us doing this podcast, when there has been an NLL Finals occur, obviously the pandemic didn't allow a couple NLL Finals to happen. 2019, 2022, 2023, 2024, and now 2025 all include the Buffalo Bandits. Half a decade of dominance. And who knows what would have happened in the 1920 season and 2020 and 2021 if there was an NLL. We could be talking about the Bandits having 7 straight trips to the NLL Finals potentially. It's a huge what if, but it's crazy to think about how long this stretch of dominance has occurred, and it feels like every year they just get better than the year prior.
Which is the part that's confusing. How do you continue to get better?
Right.
How do you continue to add? How do you continue to have draft picks that don't seem like a waste? Like, they do all the right things, and it's a top-down approach, which I think is part of the reason why Rochester is also getting better. I think it starts with the ownership, and the ownership didn't quite start with Rochester the way they did with Buffalo, but you can see them coming around to that, and you can see that organization is stepping up I wouldn't even say every single year. It's more of just every time you see them, they're getting better. You can see that they're adding the building blocks. So it's really a top-down approach. And with Buffalo, they've kind of mastered that formula for this day and age of the NLL. Obviously, that's going to change at some point. Obviously, the Bandits will fall off from that unless they're able to adjust quickly to what's happening around them. But for the time being, as long as the NLL is in its current state, we should expect the Bandits to be somewhere near the top.
And I mean, like, we all know those dudes are just going to, like, cryo-freeze their bodies so that they can play together forever. I mean, look at Matt Vince. Like, he's like the Tom Brady of lacrosse goalies in the NLL. Like, that dude gets better with age, and it's crazy to watch him play at his age and the way that he's moving around, making saves. Like, that's a huge part of this too, is that Matt Vince has gotten better with age. And I mean, his nickname is Vino for a reason. He's getting better like a fine wine. And it's crazy how this team just continues to get better. They find guys that come in if they lose guys in free agency to replace those guys, and they get better. Like, we don't talk about Cam Wires. We don't talk about Big Paul Dawson, being key contributors to this team because of the offensive flair that this team has. But like, those dudes who are like the supplemental pieces, the Kyle Buchanans of the world, who don't get, I think, enough notoriety about how talented he's been over the years. Like Connor Farrell, we talked about when they signed him, he changed the complexion of that season and has changed the complexion of that team as soon as Max Adler left, and Max Adler changed the complexion of that team. It's crazy how they just continue to find ways to get better and better. And they're going to a 5th straight NLL Finals. On the flip side, the Vancouver Warriors, we've talked about them all year long, and this is even before getting Christian Del Bianco. I think that team is built to be very good for a long time, and I think this was a case of a young, inexperienced roster in terms of just overall cohesion as a team running into the last half decade of dominance in the league in the semifinals. But I genuinely am excited about the Vancouver Warriors as a franchise in this league for years to come. I think they have such a bright future. And sure, they have a couple older veterans on the team that will still be around, but the young guys on the team, like Adam Charlambides, since coming to the Vancouver Warriors, has elevated his game tenfold. And I'm excited to watch him this summer with the Carolina Chaos too, and have an opportunity to play on a team that's going to give him that chance to showcase his talents and be around another Rutgers guy in Jules. But I think his NLL experience is going to pay dividends for him getting back into a potential like long-term PLL role with the Chaos this summer. And, you know, you look at guys who have just improved, like Alex Stathakis. I'm super excited about him this summer because look at what he did in the NLL. You have Christian Del Bianco now for the foreseeable future. That's super exciting. I think this team is built and poised for success, and obviously Kurt Malosky is a huge part of that as well. But when you just look at the makeup of the Vancouver Warriors, this is a team I don't see going away and being a one-and-done type situation in the playoffs like we've seen some other teams do where they just get hot and then they fall off. I think this is a team that can stick around for a while and be a perennial playoff contender.
Yeah, I think we saw the western side of Canada did an amazing job this year and kind of bouncing back from what they had been the last couple of years. You saw Saskatchewan is back top two in the league and looking to make a push for the NLL Cup. The Vancouver Warriors had a great season, and they both have had a lot of change over the last couple of years, and you can see that change is coming to fruition. What a lot of people will sometimes forget is that new regimen means a new culture and all of those things. It takes a little bit of minute for everybody to gel into that culture and really get a grasp on the new strategies in terms of offense and defense, how you want to go about certain things, the new sets that the coaches have. Everything is basically new while still being the same. And I think both of those teams did a really great job of making those adjustments quickly and then using them to have a great season. Like we said, Vancouver was already having a really good season. Then they bring in Del Bianco and they take another step forward. I think this team is really going back to what I've been focusing on the last couple of weeks, vibes and smiles. I think that they really, really focus on enjoying each other, enjoying lacrosse, having a good time while playing lacrosse, and it's leading to a lot of wins. I don't think they're going in with the mindset that, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, oh, like losing this game isn't a big, like they want to win every single game out there, but their main point is enjoying the time they have with each other and enjoying the game of lacrosse every single time they're out there, which in turn just puts you in a positive mood to play better, work harder. And then once you see success, that only makes you want to do it more. And that's pretty much what you saw with Vancouver this year. Is they focused on the bare bones, and as they had success, they kind of just became hungrier for it.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw and we talked about it as soon as it happened. As soon as Christian Del Bianco got in there, they went from being very good this year and could potentially have been one of those teams that was like one and done in the playoff hunt. You know, they didn't really have a notable goalie, and their goaltending was fantastic this year. But then you bring in a guy who's MVP caliber, who's a, you know, all NLL type goalie, top 3 in the league, however you want to rank them. And you just see their defense continue to get better. You see their goals against get better. You see their offense playing more fluid and loose. And I really love the way that Vancouver played this season. They never quit. You know, it could have been very easy when you bring in a guy like Christian Del Bianco, who has prior connections to Malosky, and not all of the roster kind of knows who he is. You can bring that in and it can change the complexion of the locker room for the better, which it did, or it can make it worse. And you kind of have guys fall off and not really buy in. You don't know how a move like that can affect the locker room. And for Vancouver's sake, they got lucky, and I don't even think it's lucky. They were fortunate that a guy like Christian Del Bianco, who is an ultimate vibes guy, came into that locker room. But it could have gone the complete opposite way if it's not a guy like Christian Del Bianco. And we're talking about the Warriors like falling off for, making a gamble on bringing in an elite player and it not paying off. But luckily for them, it did. And I think it's only setting the foundation for what's to come because now you have that back end solidified.
Yeah, I think it changes a lot when you know. I mean, look at the Rock for the last couple of years before they traded away Nick Rose. You look at the Bandits with Matt Vince. When you look at the Seals when they had Frank Chiliano, or even look at the Rush this year with Skiggs, having a very strong personality that will be at the top of their game in between the pipes changes so much for you.
Mm-hmm.
It really makes it easy to not only play defense, but to really spend a lot more time focusing on every other part of your game. How does your transition look? How does your offense look? Who do you have in front of that goaltender? How does the coaching staff philosophy-wise want to push certain things? You spend a lot more time on that. You get to watch more film and all those kind of things because you don't have to worry about emphasizing, okay, we really want to take this guy away so that he's not shooting this shot, and we don't want guys to get here. When you got a certain type of goaltender, that doesn't really matter where guys are taking shots from. They're going to make those saves. And it just puts a really nice bow on things and kind of just really relaxes you when you're able to go, okay, that guy back there, don't got to worry about it.
Yeah. So congrats to the Warriors on a phenomenal season. If you're a Vancouver Warriors fan, you should be thrilled about the direction your team is headed in because I think it's going to be a long journey of success for that franchise for years to come, which, Deej, now brings us to the flip side. The weird scheduling has this semifinals going down, and the Bandits just benefit from it. They get all this rest in between their series wrapping up and the NLL Finals beginning at their place on a Friday night. Which Adam Levy pointed out, this will be the first game in NLL history played on May 16th ever. But on the flip side, we move to NLL semifinals part 2 preview, and it's the Rush and Halifax now in Saskatchewan. And guess what? The Rush did their thing. They came, they saw, they conquered, and they are using all of the big dumb dipshits on Twitter and Instagram as bulletin board material from their social team. Whoever the bozo was that called Saskatchewan soft, you are a moron. They are one of the few teams that I don't think you can ever legally label them as soft, especially when they have Mike Messenger on the roster. Like that automatically nullifies any inkling of softness being associated with the Saskatchewan Rush. Good on them for not succumbing to the pressure of having to go on the road to start the series, even though they were the higher seed, having to travel across the continent to get to Halifax for that first game. Now, while I think there's still pressure on them because you want to deliver, you want to get it done at home in one game. That way you have more rest to kind of go blow for blow with Buffalo. I do feel like on the flip side, there's less pressure on Saskatchewan now because ultimately you have 2 shots at home, and obviously you want to get it done in the first shot, but you're at home now no matter what. And I think that alleviates some of the pressure on the Rush going into this weekend against Halifax. And I think all the pressure's on Halifax now to claw back, and you're going to not only have to win game 2, but then in less than 24 hours, turn around and play game 3 in front of that Saskatchewan fan base and in that hostile environment yet again.
I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure Saskatchewan asked for this. I said it last week, and after watching that game, it almost solidified it for me. They came out with great energy, and they kind of just wanted to take control from the beginning. It was a very back and forth game for a while, a very good game. You could feel the playoff energy inside of the building, but toward the end of the game, you almost could feel like the wind in the sails of the Halifax season, not even just the game, just the season kind of being taken out, because it was almost like that realization set in for not even just Halifax as a team, but their fans as well, that like, oh, we're going to Saskatchewan for possibly 2 games. Like, we're already going there down 1-0. And if we win the first one, we have to play again in the same place. That I wouldn't
Literally
feel
less than 24 hours later.
I wouldn't feel confident no matter who I am
No.
at that moment to win those games. That's going to be tough. And that really just made me think, I really think they asked, like, hey, can we go on the road for game 1 and then just play 2 straight games at home? It makes a ton of sense for them, especially after winning. Like you said, like, there's some pressure somewhat to get it done quickly and get some rest. But realistically, there's like no real pressure for Saskatchewan now. They don't have to travel at all. They don't have to worry about other fans. They're playing at home in a place that they're comfortable in with their fans behind their back. To me, it just seems like a very smart play now. Coming out of it with a win. They come out of it with a lose. Hindsight, a lot of people are looking at them like, yeah, buddy, you probably shouldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm.
But now that it played out the way it did, you almost can't say it was a bad
ball's in
idea.
their court.
Yeah, like it almost looks like the perfect plan. It almost looks like something that people should say that teams should think about moving forward in these situations. But it's definitely a tough decision to make. And I do think that they did a fantastic job in going out and really just taking control of the game and handling the things they could handle at the moment and can control to eventually lead themselves to victory.
And I mean, I think we'd be remiss to not mention, like, this whole season for Saskatchewan, I think, has really elevated by the play of Jake Naso, who unfortunately is not a Rookie of the Year finalist. The Rookie of the Year finalists are absolutely deserving. Shout out to friend of the program, Brennan O'Neill. But I mean, if there was a fourth candidate, 100% Jake should be in that category. We've said it all year long. The way he's played, I think, has really opened the eyes of a lot of people about how truly talented and versatile Jake Naso can be. And I think he just needed the opportunity to showcase that. Like, obviously didn't play in the PLL out of college last year, didn't get signed to a roster, gets drafted by Saskatchewan, and has been a superstar at the dot for them. And, you know, we were talking at ESPN headquarters during the draft. It's like, there's like 4 teams that should call Jake Naso to have him in camp and compete or be their guy. And I think a lot of that is predicated on what he has showcased this entire winter into spring now with the Saskatchewan Rush. And I don't think the Rush would be where they are if it wasn't for Jake Naso. Sure, they've had phenomenal contributions across the board from a lot of their young players, but Jake Naso has gotten them possessions that last year they were relying on Mike Messenger to do, and it kind of took away from what Mike Messenger is best at in the transition game and just moving up and down the floor, being able to stay out on offense, getting back on defense. We likened it, it's very similar to what the Water Dogs did last year, where they were using Zach Currier at the faceoff, and it took away a lot of what Zach Currier is good at in the field game, and the Water Dogs suffered from it. Very similar to last year with Saskatchewan with Mike Messenger. To get Jake Naso and see him kind of flourish and evolve was such a huge thing for the Rush. And, you know, if you're going into a series against Halifax, when you're going against one of those unicorn guys in Jake Withers, you need a guy like Jake Naso who can go blow for blow with somebody like Jake Withers.
Yeah, I think it's that's probably going to be the most interesting part of that series if they're able to make it that far. I think Naso provides a boost of energy for them. He gives them extra opportunities, but it really, in their last game, it was more than just that. Like, he was a big part of that separation for them, winning faceoffs when he won them, allowing them to have some make it, take it, allowing them to really take control of that game. It's going to be huge. And I think it's going to be huge moving into the next round if they're able to make it that far as well. Going against Connor Farrell and just getting those possessions for Saskatchewan. There's nothing more important in the game of lacrosse than possession, and being able to win the middle of the field, win the stripe, is important. And Naso's done a great job of that. And even if it's just going as close to 50% as you can, I don't think people realize how much of a difference that is in certain games. When you look at Halifax playing some other teams, Nardella's winning 70, 80% of those faceoffs versus 50. I don't think people realize how many more possessions that is for your team versus having to play at least 30 seconds of defense, if not more, in the contrary to losing those faceoffs. So Naso really just provides a lot of not only rest, but opportunity and energy for the team.
Did you mean Withers, not Nardella?
Yes. Yes. Did I say Nardella?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's because Joe Nardella's hashtag back. What you know about it? What do you think is the biggest key with this semifinals, though, being scheduled the way that it is, where it's less than 24 hours turnaround time? If Halifax is able to pull off the game to win and even things up, both teams are gonna have to play less than 24 hours later from the start time on Friday into Saturday. What's the biggest key? Who's the biggest key, in your opinion, to this series being successful for either team?
Obviously, I think it's still Naso for Saskatchewan. I think they have to continue to just have possession. The more possession that they get, the better it's going to be for them. The more clock they can waste, the more control they can have for this game. When Saskatchewan's in control, it's very hard for any team to not even just compete, but just stay in the game. I think they're able to compete well, but once Saskatchewan is able to get 2 or 3 make it, take it, and they're really draining some clock and finding their shot, it gets at you. So I think Naso would continue to be a very strong point for them. And then on the flip side, I think it's going to come down to Austin Stotts. No, not Austin. Randy Stotts. I think he's just electric. When he's scoring 4, 5, 6 points in a game, that's when this team really is at their best, when he's able to have an offensive explosion. So I think they got to look to get him going early and often, and just get him really – I think it's a matter of he's got to touch the ball down the floor every single time. It's almost like saying Dane Dobie shouldn't touch the ball every time down the floor. Like when he's active, there isn't a possession that he's on the floor for Calgary where he doesn't touch the ball. It's got to be that way for Halifax. They got to cash in on every offensive opportunity and also look to do some make it, take it.
Yeah, I think my big key, too, is for both teams is goalie. And those guys going out there on Friday night, and then if they do have to play Saturday, the proper just rehabilitation in such a short turnaround time for the goaltender position is crazy to me. That's why goalies are built different, but just making sure that those guys are as healthy as possible going into Friday and coming out of Friday, I think is going to be so key, no matter what the situation is. Even if Saskatchewan ends up winning, they still have a shorter amount of rest time and recovery time than Buffalo does. The goaltending is going to be so pivotal over this weekend for Saskatchewan and Halifax, and it's going to be something to monitor for sure, depending on how this series winds up playing out.
Yeah, I think, I've said it 1,000 times over, special teams is where you win games. Face-offs and goalies. They not only keep points off the board, but they provide opportunities. Both positions. They're going to be the most important positions to you.
100%. And before we keep it pushing, I do want to talk to everybody about our awesome merch partners at PHI Apparel Company. Guys, if you want to stand out in the crowd, whether you're going to an NLL playoff game, whether you're gearing up for the PLL season, or you're going to a college game, maybe you're going to the Final Four at Gillette Stadium, we want you repping your favorite lacrosse players, favorite lacrosse podcast. Get your official Outside the Box podcast merch, whether it be t-shirts, hoodies, all available at PHI Apparel Company. Plus, if you're a Philly sports fan, they've got things for the Phillies, the Birds, Sixers, Flyers, Union, Philly-centric merch. And, of course, all your favorite Underground Sports Philadelphia podcasts have merchandise available. The official merch partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Use the link in the description or go to phiapparel.co. And when you check out, use code Underground to get 10% off your next merch order. Again, that's code Underground for 10% off at phiapparel.co. to get 10% off your next merch order. Stand out in the crowd with the official merch partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia, PHI Apparel Company. Deej, it's about that time. We head on over to the pick pond once again, feed some ducks, and dish out the NLL semifinals. Part 2, picks of the week, brought to you by Kenwood Beer, the official beer partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's a refreshing light beer, just 4.1% ABV, 120 calories, 8 grams of carbs. Go to kenwoodbeer.com. Use the Kenny Finder to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in the Philadelphia, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Maryland areas. You can also get Kenwood Beer at your local liquor stores in those markets. Indeed, do what the box says. Grab a Kenny. KenwoodBeer.com. Must be 21 or older to do so. And, of course, guys, please drink responsibly. Deej, we got 2 games. We will pick both. Obviously, if Game 3 does not happen, we will not have to use that pick. But last week, in terms of picks, we will I'll pull that up here. After last week's games, we both went Buffalo. You went Saskatchewan. I went Halifax. And we both went Vancouver in Game 2. So not an overall ideal week for the Vancouver pick, obviously, which was a bummer that we didn't get a Game 3 there. But you did get the coin flip game. How do you see this one playing out in Game 2 with Saskatchewan and Halifax? Is it over, or are we getting a possible Game 3?
I think it's over, but I said this last week. I said that they had this whole plan, that if they went over there and they won Game 1, that there's no way that they're coming out of there with a loss. So I think Game 2 also goes to Saskatchewan, as they'll be able to pack out that building expecting to try and move on to the NLL Cup.
I am also going Saskatchewan to wrap it up. That's you want to get as much rest as possible against the Buffalo Bandits. So I think they're going to wrap it up, have it in the books, and Saskatchewan Buffalo will be the 2025 NLL Finals starting on May 16th. Short, sweet, and simple. Pretty easy, self-explanatory. But Deej, just in case a Game 3 happens, is it still Saskatchewan as your pick?
I believe so, yes.
Same here.
I think they will be playing in the NLL.
Temporary pick for both of us is still Saskatchewan. But there it is, your 2025 NLL semifinals, part 2 pick of the week, powered by Kenwood Beer. All right, what's up, guys? It's KB coming at you solo for a PLL Draft recap on this episode here. Just going to recap the draft real quick. If you missed our draft live stream, reacting live to every pick, every moment, it's available on our YouTube channel. You can go watch that bad boy. It was a ton of fun. OTB and Friends was a blast. Shout out to everybody who helped make that possible. But definitely go check out the live stream. You'll get instant reaction. I was at ESPN headquarters for the draft. It was an absolute blast to be there. Big thank you to Grace Hamilton, Paul and Mike Rabel, the entire PLL, for allowing your boy to be at ESPN HQ for the draft. First time there. It was a ton of fun. Hopefully going to be able to do that again for years to come, as long as the draft is at ESPN HQ. But let's get into kind of just recapping the draft, some interesting picks, my takeaways from some of the picks as well, and some of the quotes I got from some of our coaches in the league after the draft. So things got started, obviously, with the slam dunk pick, CJ Kirst going to the Philadelphia Water Dogs from Cornell, joining an attack group of Kieran McCardle, Michael Sowers. CJ Kirst is going to be an absolute force in the PLL. I'm super excited that he's a Philadelphia athlete, and the Kirst family now has Philadelphia ties as well. CJ was the slam dunk number 1 pick. It made too much sense for him to not go number 1. So CJ joins a talented Water Dogs team that's looking to bounce back from last year's very interesting down season that was for Philadelphia. So welcome to Philly, CJ Kirst. Then the Redwoods, there was rumors all day that they were getting trade offers for pick number 3. They end up keeping pick number 3. And with pick 2 and 3, they go back-to-back and take 2 midfielders, Andrew McAdory and Sam English from Duke and Syracuse. Obviously, Joe Spallina Joey Spallina's at Syracuse. He's seen a lot of Sam English, so that pick makes a lot of sense. But the Redwoods add 2 talented offensive weapons to a team that's looking to try to find an identity right now and kind of get back to prominence like they were in 2019 when they were an overtime Matt Rambo goal away from being crowned the first champions of the PLL. So 2 great picks there for the Redwoods, and that allowed Coulter Mackesy to fall to the Boston Cannons from Princeton. They needed that lefty shooter. Coulter Mackesy is that, and Brian Holman gets his guy. Then we get the first surprise of draft night where the Carolina Chaos and Utah Archers pull off a pick swap, and it comes into play in the first round for the first time, and the Atlas move up from pick 8 to pick 5 and select Penn defender Brendan Lavelle. I love this pick for the Archers. I think this is one of the most underappreciated picks of this draft. I think Brendan Lavelle is a guy who can be an anchor on this Archers defense for a decade. Graham Hossack is still on the team, but he's getting older. Warren Jeffrey's getting a little bit older. I think this is a perfect pick for Chris Bates, Tony Resch, and the Utah Archers as they look to three-peat this year as PLL champions. And then pick 6 goes to the New York Atlas, Matt Trainer. We talked to Mike Pressler earlier in the day. He said he had no interest in trading. They had their guys, and if the board didn't go their way, they had pivots. But they get Matt Trainer to add to an already prolific offense. This is just a cheat code on top of a cheat code for the New York Atlas. Their offense is going to be absolutely filthy. And then Aiden Carroll goes to the Whipsnakes. Very Whipsnakes pick. I like it. I think he's going to be very prolific with Matt Rambo, with Rob Pinnell, with TJ Malone. I think this is a very smart pick to add Aiden Carroll to get coached up by Drew Snyder and Jim Stagnita on that offense and do a lot of work and a lot of help for a Whipsnakes offense that is kind of missing an identity to a degree now that Zed Williams is gone and part of the Philadelphia Water Dogs. I like the Aiden Carroll pick for the Whips. And then with the trade down, the Chaos at pick 8 take Owen Hiltz out of Syracuse to add to their offense that is looking for an identity full-blown with the departure of Josh Byrne. Ian McKay is gone. A lot of Chaos guys that you have come to know and love over the years are no longer playing for the Carolina Chaos. So Owen Hiltz, a great pick there to kind of try to spark any semblance of offense for the Carolina Chaos under Roy Colsey and Spencer Ford at the GM spot there for the Chaos. And then we move to round 2. The Water Dogs take Jake Taylor out of Notre Dame. This was kind of a surprise to me. Jake Taylor is such a quick stick shooter, and to add him to CJ Kurse, Michael Sowers, Kieran McCardle, he's going to score like clockwork for this offense. And I love adding him into the mix here. He's going to play midfield. He's going to come out of the box. And I think Jake Taylor is going to be a player that we talk about as somebody being like, how did he fall to the second round? Even though it was pick 1 in the second round, we're going to wonder, how did Jake Taylor fall to the Water Dogs in round 2? And then at pick 10 in the second round, it finally comes to fruition. Chris Kavanaugh goes to the California Redwoods. So a brilliant display of patience and kind of understanding the board by Joe Spallina and Anthony Kelly as they get their guys in round 1 with Andrew McAdory and Sam English, and then they're able to wait until pick 10 to get Chris Kavanaugh to add to this offense that already features Ryder Garnsey, Charlie Bertrand, Wes Berg. You're adding 3 prolific players to this offense now. A phenomenal first 3 picks in the top 10 for the California Redwoods. And then the Outlaws go Logan McNaney, the goalie from Maryland, first goalie off the board. I like this for the Outlaws. You know, Sean Scanoni retires, Owen McElroy. You don't really know how long-term you want him to be the goalie. This gives him some competition as well with Logan coming in from Maryland. I like this pick a lot for the Outlaws, and they get their guy. And then the Cannons go Mick Kelly from Denver with pick 12. The Chaos then at pick 13 take Levi Virch from St. Joe's. And that was a pick that I think was intriguing by a lot of standards because a lot of people didn't expect Levi to be available at pick 13. He was mocked as a first-round pick by a lot of people, myself included. in a lot of, run-throughs of mock drafts and kind of trying to figure out where guys were going to go. So Levi falling to the Carolina Chaos to add to Jared Newman, Jack Rowlett. That defense is going to be scary for years to come now that you have Levi Virch in the mix. I think he's a super talented defenseman, and he's going to be a force for the Carolina Chaos. Then the first kind of head-scratcher pick, Max Krevsky from Yale, goes pick 14 to the Atlas. I don't know too much about Max personally, but, a talented player nonetheless, going to Yale, playing in the Ivy League. But a lot of people view this as kind of a reach. So it's going to be interesting to see how he kind of shakes out in training camp and what he's able to bring to the table for the Atlas if he's able to make that roster. Then at pick 15, the Philadelphia Water Dogs take Dylan Hess from Florida, former Georgetown lacrosse player, transferred to Florida, was trying to walk onto the football team, did not make the team, but played MCLA at Florida. And improved his draft stock because the Carolina Chaos, Andy Towers, drafted him pick 28 last year in the draft, and now he goes pick 15 to the Water Dogs in this year's draft. And then following that up with the final portion of the pick swap for the Chaos, they get pick 16 from the Archers here in the second round, and they take Jack McDonald from Maryland. Now, a lot of people were confused by this, and then they go and take Jack McDonald, and there's going to be a lot of questioning of it, but Will Bowen is not going to be available this summer for the Carolina Chaos, so this was kind of an insurance pick from things I was picking up on draft night, and, Dan Arestia was doing a great report on everything as well, because we were kind of sharing like a massive war room during draft night, but this pick makes a lot more sense once it came to light that the report was coming out that Will Bowen wasn't going to be available this summer and was not going to be playing for the Chaos. So you needed to fill another hole. And talking to Roy Colsey after the draft, he said you go into a draft with plan A, plan B, plan C, and this year's draft just happened to be plan D because they didn't expect Levi Virch to be on the board at pick 13. And then Jack McDonald is the pick that was always going to be their guy. So it kind of threw a wrench in things, but they have 3 top 16 picks coming into camp now, and they still have the supplemental draft. We'll see who they're able to add offensively, but an interesting draft nonetheless for the Carolina Chaos in the inaugural year of the Colsey Ford regime. Then we go to the third round. Scott Smith from Johns Hopkins goes to the Whipsnakes at pick 17. Sam King falls all the way to pick 18, and the Utah Archers are able to add a prolific scorer from Harvard at pick 18. Pace Billings from Michigan goes at pick 19. Emmett Carroll goes to the Whipsnakes at pick 20, the second goalie off the board. Mitchell Dunham goes to the Archers from Richmond at pick 21. Mike Grace goes to the Atlas at pick 22. And then Ben Weyer falls all the way to pick 23 to the Philadelphia Water Dogs. I love this pick. I know Ben Weyer hasn't had the greatest season this year. Virginia hasn't had the greatest season this year. But when you have a guy who has showcased talent and has the ability to be a vacuum out there at the LSM position, you have to take a chance on that in round 3. And I spoke to Bill Tierney after the draft. He said his initial mock drafts, he was taking Ben Weyer at pick 9 if Jake Taylor was off the board. Like, that was one of his guys that they wanted, and they got 3 of their guys that said, check, check, check. They were their guys, and they were all available. And that was kind of sans CJ Curse. So to get Jake Taylor, to get Dylan Hess, and to get Ben Weyer, it was like a kid on Christmas for Bill Tierney and this Water Dogs team on draft night. They get every single guy that they were looking to get throughout this draft. It fell perfectly for them. And Ben Weyer is joining the Water Dogs. And I love the pick. I'm excited for him to learn from a lot of these guys, especially Rylan Reese. There's not many LSMs that I'd rather a rookie learn from. And I think Ben Weyer is going to really develop into a stout player for the Philadelphia Water Dogs. Christian Mazer goes with the final pick in the third round at pick 24, short stick D midi from Army to the Whipsnakes. And Jim Stagnita said he is fully available to play. No military obligations this summer. So he's ready to rock and roll 100% in, and he's very excited about what Mazur's going to bring to the table for them in the short stick D midi room. And then with pick 25, the Water Dogs round out their draft with Jimmy Freehill from Denver. Kevin Parnham goes to the Outlaws from Penn State. Then Jack Gray from Duke goes to the Outlaws at pick 27. Ben Ramsey falls all the way to pick 28 into the lap of Brian Holman. And the Boston Cannons, the short stick D-midi from Notre Dame, originally like a top 12 pick, falls all the way to 28. Carter Rice from Syracuse goes at pick 29 to the Redwoods. Hugh Kelleher goes to the Atlas at pick 30 from Cornell. Griffin Schutz is the Redwoods' final pick in this draft at pick 31. And then the Archers take Bryce Ford from Maryland to round out the draft. The draft was a ton of fun. There's a lot of implications from this draft. I think we are going to have the most competitive training camp we have ever seen in the PLL. Going into this summer, we're going to see so many fireworks, so many different things happening in this draft. And I just realized as I'm recording this, I have the wrong banner up. I apologize for that. But, you know, when you look at how the draft kind of shook out for every team, I think my early, on paper winners of this draft, no particular order, the California Redwoods, the Philadelphia Water Dogs, the Boston Cannons, and the Utah Archers had slam dunk drafts. I think when you look at the Whipsnakes, it's going to be a lot of kind of wait and see, but I like a lot of the things they did, not necessarily in the order they did them with some of the picks, but I think Jim Stagnita had himself a very solid draft. And I think a lot of people are underestimating the Whipsnakes, which I think is just a mistake. If you underestimate the Whipsnakes, what are you doing? You look at the Atlas, there's a questionable pick here and there, but the Atlas are so loaded that they don't really have that many holes to fill in the draft. So we'll see how their draft picks kind of shake out. And then, you look at a team like the Denver Outlaws, they fill some needs. They get some guys that, are younger at certain positions. They get the goalie they needed. They get defense help. They get a short stick D-midi to add to a prolific short stick D-midi group already with the addition of Zach Geddes in free agency. And then you look at the Carolina Chaos, and it's going to be a long trust the process type of thing, and I'm excited. I trust Roy Colsey. I trust Spencer Ford. If you're a Chaos fan, I highly recommend you do the same. Because I think those two are building something special. It's going to take a little bit of time, but they're the guys that are going to really reinvigorate this Chaos offense, get the scoring going in the right direction, and really make Chaos Lacrosse a very fun product once again. Plus, you have the best goalie on the planet. You have an all-world defense with Jack Rowlett, with Jared Newman, with some of the guys you brought in the draft, Levi Virch. It's going to be tough to score on the Carolina Chaos, even more so this year, I think, than it was last year. But the draft was incredible. There's going to be a lot from the supplemental draft that comes to fruition. And I think we're going to be in store for one of the greatest training camps and training camp battles across all 8 teams that we've ever seen in the PLL. So I'm very excited for that. And to keep up to date with all things PLL, download the PLL app. Go to the App Store, Google Play Store. Download the PLL app. It's a gamified app. If you haven't downloaded it already, you earn XP, experience points in the app that unlocks awesome features, PLL shop discounts, potential ESPN Plus subscriptions. The possibilities are endless. So when you download the PLL app, go to the redeem code section and use code OTBPOD. That's code OTBPOD for 500 XP on your account. You'll get 500 XP right off the rip when you use code OTBPOD on the PLL app. Once again, thank you to the entire PLL for having your boy out at the draft. It was a ton of fun, and already looking forward to next year. Looking forward to a couple weeks. We'll be in Albany. It's crazy. It's crazy how time flies. But congratulations to everybody that was drafted. Welcome to Philadelphia, CJ Kirst. And I think without any further ado, I'm going to cut it back to myself and Deej. We're going to break down everything in the college game and a whole lot more. So sit tight. We'll be right back. All right, Deej, it's a college preview weekend once again, brought to you by our friends at 47 Brand. Guys, Deej and I have been rocking 47 Brand forever. You know the vibes. Literally, when we're not wearing Lacrosse stuff, it's 47. I'm rocking it right now. Got the vintage Kelly Green Eagles John on. 47 Brand is my go-to hat of choice. It has been for decades. I wear 47 Brand all the time, whether it be their apparel and of course their headwear, which is second to none. They're dropping new capsules pretty much every single week, and it is truly the best in the game. Rep your favorite sports team with 47 Brand. Use our link in the description when you shop with 47 Brand and join the 47 family. It's free to join. And when you do, you get free shipping on all orders. And when you join the 47 family, you rack up points on every single order. DJ, I was looking at my account today. I could literally get a free hat because I have that many points.
The boys on one.
We love that. So use our link in the description, join the 47 family, and get free shipping on all orders from our friends at 47 Brand. And we thank 47 Brand for being a proud partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Deej, take us through the college game upcoming. What do we have to look forward to? What is on deck? And what are the sights and sound? What are the streets saying about what's upcoming in the college game?
All right, so I just want to start off by saying thank you, Michigan Lacrosse, for another great year. We were this close, right on the outside. Continue to put in that work, continue to get better, and continue to really find your spot in the Big Ten. We almost had another championship, but we'll get back to it next year. A lot of people, the streets are saying that Army got, they got, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Shafted.
Snubbed. A lot of people saying they got snubbed and should have been fighting for a spot on Memorial Day weekend, but unfortunately, they are not. Everything started Wednesday. Air Force beat Robert Morris 14-9 for their play-in game. Albany beat Siena 11-9 in their play-in game, so they will also be playing in the first round on Sunday. Getting things popped off, one of the most egregious things we've seen so far was North Carolina getting a home game over Richmond. I think Richmond should be hosting a home game. Not that North Carolina isn't good enough to do so, more so that Richmond had a phenomenal season, and they were 10 at the end of the year, and they probably should have moved up a couple more spots. And if it wasn't for that one loss that they had earlier in the year that I helped them out with, but I also saved their season. So it is what it is. I did root for my Richmond Spiders to take down the Carolina Tar Heels this weekend. That's the one upset I have in the first round. But other than that, I have Princeton taking down Towson. That's at 2:30 p.m. Noon for the Richmond, North Carolina game. Colgate and Penn State, 5 p.m. on Saturday. I got Penn State winning that one, and it was tough because I almost chose Colgate. I really did. And then I got Duke over Georgetown, which also was another tough game to pick because I feel like Georgetown has a chance to make a run. That's 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. All of those games and all of the games on Sunday will be on ESPNU. Kicking things off Sunday at noon, Notre Dame taking on Ohio State. I got Ohio State winning that one in their home stadium. Air Force will be traveling to Maryland. I think Maryland comes out on top there. That's at 2:30. And then at 5 p.m., we got Syracuse taking on Harvard in the Dome. I think Syracuse comes out on top, but that might be game of the weekend. It's really Notre Dame, Ohio State, Harvard, and Syracuse are kind of what we're looking at outside of Richmond, North Carolina, and maybe Georgetown, Duke. Those are kind of the four big games to watch for the weekend, but there may be some other solid games out there as well. And then obviously Cornell and Albany will close things out 7:30 p.m. on Sunday. And that's what we have for the first round.
It's going to be a wild time. I know breaking the fourth wall, I'll be doing draft recap solo dolo on this episode, but I do want to give a huge thank you and shout out to, number one, everyone who tuned in to the OTB College Draft Extravaganza live stream. It was a wild success. But on top of that, I do want to give a huge thank you to Neil Barrett, the boy Jackson, and Dre for coming through, and also to Aiden from the Boston Battery for checking in as well throughout the night. For the boys, popping on in, holding it down, kind of let me play Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport coming in with some breaking news throughout the night as well when I was able to tap in. Literally, the draft stream would not have happened without those three holding it down and being, big team guys. So a big, big thank you from us here at OTB to the OTB friends for making that happen. And the draft stream was a wild success. So many people watching, commenting. It was really cool to have so many different viewpoints and takes going on and watching everything unfold from ESPN headquarters. Thank you to the PLL for allowing me to be there for the draft. It was a wild experience. But again, thank you to Neil, Dre, and Jackson for being a huge reason why this year's draft stream was able to happen. That's what makes OTB the fucking coolest. We have some awesome people who listen to the podcast, who interact with the podcast, who interact with us as people, and we know them well enough that we can trust them with our brand, and things go off without a hitch.
Yeah, and they were great to have on for the few moments that I got to pop on vocally before I was kicked out of the stream for some random reason. Were great, and then they continued to relay what I was saying through the comments. So I think that also made the stream a little bit better. Thanks to Neil and everyone else, Dre, Jackson, Hoot staying on and doing his thing with us. That's hella important to me because I was coaching, so it was kind of hard to because I was thinking about it, and then right before you texted me, the game started, and then it went down the way it went, and I just my mind completely forgot about the draft pretty much because I was I'm in the middle of war.
I know. I texted you, you good, my boy, because I think that may have been the longest time where we were in an active texting back and forth situation, and then you went radio silent, and I was like, is he good?
No, actually I wasn't.
Oh man, it's so funny. But yeah, the draft is great. A lot of insight that we'll be breaking down on this episode that you'll hear prior to me saying this, but then also as the weeks unfold, we'll have more information that will be made public about situations and signings, the supplemental draft, and how things shake out there. But a lot of great insight. I got a chance to meet Anthony Kelly as well for the first time. Got a chance to reconnect with Roy Colsey and Spencer Ford, working on getting both of them on the podcast, hopefully at the same time, which would be so much goddamn fun. Those two are a riot. But yeah, we are in another year of the PLL, and it's going to be a wild 2025 season. I'm excited about it. It's going to be so much. We're planning big, big things for this PLL season that you won't want to miss. But again, thank you to the friends of OTB for helping make the 2025 college draft extravaganza live stream happen. And who knows, maybe we'll do an OTB and friends just live stream shooting the shit type thing as an episode somewhere down the line and make it, a twice annual thing or something and have some fun with the fellas and the ladies and everything that are friends in a pod. That's all we got for you guys on this one. Make sure you guys are following us on the socials at OTB Lax Pod across the board. Follow DJ SCS_next great. Follow Hoots at Hoots Sports Media. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the pod. Subscribe to the pod. Subscribe to the pod. Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. Subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. Leave a like on the video. Drop a comment in the comment section. Click that bell icon so you know whenever new videos go live. One other thing, want to give a shout out to the boy D3 hero, Connor Eck, conference champion. Shout out to the boy. Also want to shout out friend of the program, Nat St. Laurent. Shout out to Ohio Northern, getting the job done. They're moving on to the second round. So well-deserved. Super pumped for Nat and for Connor. And we were joking. We said, wow, Connor really is a D3 hero now.
He is. Boy's a real hero now.
Did the damn thing. Shout out to the fellas. But yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel. check out Shootout For Soldiers website, shootoutforsoldiers.com/events, to see where a Shootout For Soldiers event is coming to an area near you. Find out how to volunteer, donate, get involved, or register for an upcoming event throughout the 2025 Shootout For Soldiers season. Shootoutforsoldiers.com/events is the website. It is linked in the description of this podcast as well on audio and video. And this has been episode number 374 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA, number 11 Philadelphia ranked, and of course viewable on YouTube, Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. For Deej, I'm KB. Enjoy these NLL games. Enjoy the college weekend. We'll be right back here talking a whole lot more next week. But until then, we're getting the heck up out of here. Peace.
Peace.
Bye.